Morning everyone, it's Audrey, Stitcherhood 42. It is Monday, the 1st of March, and we have internet, so hopefully this is going to be a regular Flosstube update. I have fully finished items to share with you, I have some previously finished items to share with you, and I have some plans, a little bit of happy mail, and a couple of small purchases. So, I wanted to start with some of the happy mail. I received a couple of Valentine's cards and I wanted to say thank you to the ladies who sent them to me. The first one I got was from Lisa, the Silver Stitcher. She sent me this beautiful Victorian style Valentine's card. And the other one is from my sister witch, Stacy, the Postal Stitcher, on Instagram. I loved both of them. Thank you so much, ladies, for thinking of me. The other piece of mail I received just the other day. And in my last video, I was talking about the fact that we have to take the whole maple out that crashed during the ice storm. And I received a beautiful, beautiful card from Lynn. So grateful. She is one of the sweetest ladies I have ever met. And on the inside, it says, there's a little, she sent me a personal message, which I've covered up, but written in the card itself, it says, "In your honor, a tree is being planted in a national forest." Lynn, I cried. I thought that was just so special, so wonderful. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for thinking of me, for purchasing this beautiful card, and knowing that somewhere there's a tree planted for me. Okay, cross stitch. Going right into the cross stitch. So I showed a couple of finishes. No, they weren't finishes in the last video. They were stitched pieces. And the first one was this little freebie. It's called Sweetheart, Stone Street Stitchworks. And just like I had done my 3 Halloween pieces from the Hare for Halloween, I decided to put it on a little stake so that I could use it in my flower frog. I'm going to look for other small February style stitches that I can put in there. Well, at the store the other day, I saw these. And I got 3 of them. The third one is over there. But I was thinking how cute until I get another little freebie stitched up to be able to do the same thing with these, because they're on wooden stakes. And I took the first one and I cut it in half because the stakes are rather long. They're meant to go in a bouquet of flowers. But I thought, next February when I put my bouquet together in my flower frog, what a perfect little display that's going to be. So this is Sweetheart by Stone Street Stitchworks. It is a freebie. It will be linked below. The next one I did by the Bay Needlearts. This is Love is the Key. And this is my finish on this one. Again, I'm going to say thank you to Helen D for giving me the idea of finishing the pillow like this. I went down to the local variety store because they have a small sewing section there, and I discovered fat quarters of fabric. I know that there's many people out there who know what fat quarters of fabric are. You use them all the time when you make those beautiful quilts, but I don't quilt. And before, when I would go buy fabric, I'd buy a yard and a half of fabric, and I'd spend way too much money on something that I'm just going to use for finishing. Well, not way too much money, but more than I needed to. And I discovered fat quarters because For $3 or less, I can get all these beautiful pieces of fabric and I can use them for finishing. And I love this fabric. This is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And the color goes well with the stitching. So this is my little pillow finish on Love is the Key, a freebie by the Bay Needlearts. One of those two, listed below. And my last one is, without a doubt, my favorite. This was also finished because of Helen D teaching me how to make the cube finish. I absolutely love this one. Watching Flosstube, I like to see what's behind people. And so the people that have their stitching behind them, or they have interesting things in their house to look at, I like that because I get inspiration from watching others. Lynn, who I love to watch, I think that lady is a hoot, and I could sit and listen to her stories all day long. On the little sideboard that she has behind her, she has 4 cubes like this. Each one is a different letter, L-O-V-E. And I really wanted to stitch those. So I went looking for them because I finally saw somebody else posted on Instagram that the pattern name was Love Squared. So I did a Google search for Love Squared. And I came up with this pattern. This is a freebie from Kinkavel Krosses. And I've stitched others from Kinkavel Krosses. And I thought that I would try this one. All 3 of these pieces were stitched on 28 count ivory Lugana. The first 2, this one was stitched with GAST Cranberry. This one is a combination of the GAST Cranberry and DMC 816. If you're not looking at it up close, you don't see that I've used 2 different colors in here. They're so close in color. I know where it's at, but basically it looks like it's stitched all one color. This one, I decided that I would try to find a variegated floss. And I don't have a tremendous amount of variegated flosses, but a couple years ago I found these at a Goodwill store, and then I later on found out that you can buy them at Michael's. It is a package of floss called Designed for the Needle. They are from Mexico. The package has 30 skeins of floss in it, and they're all variegated. There are blacks and pinks and reds and blues and greens and purples and yellows and oranges. There's 30 skeins of floss in there. It's a cotton floss, and I decided that I wanted to stitch this one diagonally. So I started here on the border, and I went down and around, and I used most of one skein to do all of the border. Then I went upstairs and I grabbed a second skein, and when I grabbed the second skein, it's not that it's a different dye lot, but the colors were different. It's the same pink, but instead of having the light tones of pink going through the medium tones and then to the darker tones of pink, it was mostly the dark pink with a little bit of medium tone in it. So this square here, the L, I had to fussy cut that second skein of floss to get more of the mid-tones in there so it wouldn't be so dark. Then I went upstairs and I got a third skein of floss, and it had some of the lighter colors in it. So this one is a combination of the second and third skeins. This one is the third skein, and this one is a combination of the second and third skeins. And because it's variegated, and because it's all the same color palette, you can't tell the difference. But I was kind of surprised how much difference there was from one skein to another in that package. And I guess that's the same even if you buy a fancy floss. If you get a different dye lot, you're going to get a different color palette in the same ranges. I finished this as a cube finish. I put little beaded legs on the bottom of it. Absolutely love, love, love this. So those are my 3 February stitches. I have issues with Valentine's Day. It's not a big deal, but being in retail for 35 plus years, I really dislike the retail aspect of Valentine's Day. So I have decided that I'm going to refer to all of these as my February stitches. So behind me, I've got my sideboard set up with a few things, and some of them are previous stitches, and I thought that I would share them with you now. The 3 pillows that I have, I found these 3 patterns in Better Homes and Gardens magazine years and years and years and years and years ago. Have no idea when I stitched them, but I simply followed the patterns with these. And this one, is this the one? I think this is the one. This is the first time that I had ever stitched a pattern that was more than 1 page. And it had that overlap. And I didn't realize that you don't stitch the overlap twice. So right down the center of this one, there's an extra row or 2 of stitching. But I think, I can't see it, but I made this because I wanted these to go on my bed. I decided that I wanted some pillows that had hearts on them, so I stitched this one. Then I found this pattern, and I stitched it too, but when I originally stitched it, I used the called for colors in the magazine, and it was pinks and greens. And at that time, that just wasn't my color palette, so I decided to stitch it again with more blues in it. And I just used, since I didn't have the pattern, I just used the previously stitched pillow to copy and restitch this one to go along with the colors that were in my bedroom and on my bed. And then there is this one. This one is full of blended colors, and I obviously didn't give myself much room around the edge when I finished it. This is one that I would like to take up to Jolynn and have her refinish it for me, because when I put on this cording here, it's the type of cording that you sew in. I didn't know how to finish the edges, so it's got this big fuzzy goober. It has a fuzzy goober. Anyway, this was the 3rd of the heart motif pillows that I stitched to go on my bed. All 3 of those, I would say it's probably been a good 15, possibly 20 years ago that I stitched them. I still love them. Okay, a more recent previous finish is this pattern here. This is I Carry Your Heart. This is a Darling and Whimsey design, and I stitched this one last year. And then the last little one that I stitched was also a freebie, and I don't remember where it was, but I stitched this. This is using the red version of the flosses. So that is Love. And those are all of my February stitches. This isn't going to be a very long video at all because either I'm talking quickly or I don't have much to share today. Either way, it'll all be good. So, last week I went up to Acorns and Threads. Because of all the damage from the ice storms, because of all the trees down, roads are being blocked off at various times throughout the day so that the PGE crews can get in there. That's Portland General Electric for anybody who's not in Oregon. That's our electric company. The PGE crews are out there. The crews are out there moving the debris. So while I can drive to work in the morning just fine, driving home I've had to take detours to get around these areas. Otherwise I would sit in traffic for long periods of time. So since I decided to take a detour over to the freeway, I figured if I'm that close to Acorns and Threads, I needed to stop in. And I picked up 4 pattern books. These are ones that I've wanted to stitch for a while. I have no clue when I'm going to be stitching them. They're all Blackbird designs, but they're the little stocking patterns. And I've seen so many people finishing these. I think that they are gorgeous. I got the By the Chimney with Care. There's 3 patterns in that book. I got the Patriotic July. There's 3 patterns in that book. The one I want to stitch is this one. I got October Harvest. There's 3 patterns in this book, and this is one of the ones, actually all 3 of these are ones that I want to stitch. And then if you know me, you know I had to get Halloween. And I think there's 13 stockings in that one. So 4 patterns of stockings. I'm set up to stitch some stockings at some point in the future. When that's going to happen, I have no clue. I have not been stitching on any of my big projects here recently because I've been having fun stitching the freebies. One of the things that I wanted to do, because I've been watching everybody and I've been looking at their backgrounds and seeing what they have, is I decided that I wanted to stitch some more smalls so that I could put out decorations at various times of the year. I am horrible when it comes to decorating my house. I decorate my house for Halloween, I decorate my house for Christmas, and the rest of the time I don't. I don't decorate for anything. But I decided I wanted to do that. My mantle, after I took down all the Christmas stuff, it was completely bare until I put the candles up there during the ice storm. And the candles are still there because I'm lazy. But I need to get some stuff stitched so that I can decorate up there too. Because if I have things, I can put them out, right? So it's March, St. Patrick's Day. I thought that I would find some patterns to stitch, and of course I was looking for the freebies. Not because I'm cheap, but because freebies are usually small. And I thought, if they're small, I can stitch them. So the first one I found, and I don't know if there is a name on here. This image is really bad because it's a printout from a picture that I took, screenshot that I took. It's from Fearn, Abbey Needleworks, and it's a little Scottish thistle. So I will link this one down below. I actually got started on this one this morning. This is a piece of 14 count Picture This Plus Valor Aida, and I'm going to stitch all 3 of these patterns on this one. This is my start this morning. I'm just stitching the outer border. So it's not going to be very big, and I like that. So that's my new start. The other freebies that I found, this one, this is a freebie from the Primitive Hare. I saw Kathy to Dye House stitch this, fell in love with it. I fell in love with her a long time ago. She needs to do a video. Fell in love with this one. This is called Irish Blessings, Slan. And I'm going to stitch that. It's all going to be in one color, and I haven't figured out which color I'm going to stitch that one yet. And the third one that I found, also a freebie from Claddagh Cross Stitch, is this one. So hopefully I can get all three of these stitched up before St. Patrick's Day. Maybe I could have them finished before I do my next video in 2 weeks. We'll see. We shall see what happens. They're all small, and I am a relatively quick stitcher, and when I put myself to doing finishing, I can usually get things finished, so we'll see if I have them finished by the next video. Am I crossing my fingers? I don't know. I have a little rant. Is it a rant? I would like to express my opinion on something, and I'm going to try to be nice about it. I'm going to try to be nice. I don't know who started using this phrase, but it is a phrase that I would really like to see any crafter stop using. My box of shame. I've finished stitching stuff and I've put it into my box of shame. And that's been bugging me for a while because it shouldn't be a box of shame. We all stitch differently. Some people do full coverage, some people don't like full coverage, somebody does small, somebody stitches on aida, somebody stitches on linen, somebody only stitches on even weave. We stitch at different speeds, we follow the pattern completely, we don't follow the pattern, we choose our own colors, we make it bigger, we make it smaller, and all of it is wonderful and perfect and fabulous just the way it is. Some people stitch just to stitch. They're process stitchers. They enjoy just doing the stitching. Some people, like myself, enjoy doing their own finishes. To me, it's a chance to be more creative. If I'm doing something like this, or something like this, or something like this, it's another chance to be creative. And because of the people who have done finishing tutorials, I branched out and I started finishing my own pieces. And then there's some people who stitch things and they set them aside until they have a stack of them, and then they send them off to a finisher and they have someone finish them for them. However you stitch, it's all good. But the phrase, box of shame, whether it's the box that's under your bed, whether it's the drawer that you stash them in, whether you iron them and hang them up in your closet somewhere and never do anything else with them, it's all good. But I'm hoping that maybe I can start a movement, if you will, to get people to stop saying box of shame. They're treasures. They're treasures. If they're in a box underneath your bed, that's a treasure box. If they're in a drawer in your sideboard or in your dresser, they're treasures. If they're hanging in your closet, they're treasures. Somebody is going to see them someday and go, this is beautiful. And they're going to look at the next one and they're going to go, this is gorgeous. This is wonderful. This is fantastic. Because they will have discovered treasures. So I'm hoping that people will stop using the phrase box of shame, because there is nothing shameful in our stitching at all. Even if you stitch naughty words, there is nothing shameful in our stitching. So I'm hoping that going forward, if people stitch something and they put it away for whatever reason it is that they put it away, that they will refer to them as their treasures. Their box of treasures, their stitch treasures, their treasures. So that's my opinion. If you watched my last two videos, Flosstube 115 and Flosstube 116, I am doing a giveaway in both of those videos. If you want to know what that giveaway is, please go back and watch those videos to find out what it is and what the keyword will be. Because we have the internet back up and I should be able to get this edited, uploaded, and out today, I have decided that I will leave both of those open until the 14th of March and draw winners for them and announce them in my next video. And hopefully I'll have some finishes to share in my next video. Until then, everybody, thank you so much for coming and visiting with me today. I don't say it nearly enough. Thank you for liking my videos, for subscribing to my videos. Thank you for visiting. Live long and stitch on. Bye-bye.